Did you know that Elisabeth of Austria, famously known as Empress Sisi, could be quite wild? To the world, Elisabeth of Austria was the perfect empress. Beautiful, elegant, untouchable. Her legendary hair reached almost to the floor. Poets admired her. Painters immortalized her. Europe became obsessed with her image. But behind the royal portraits was a woman who increasingly began to disturb high society. Whispers followed her across Europe. The empress was behaving strangely, and the older she became, the less she seemed to care what anyone thought. So here's the shocking truth about Empress Sisi that most people never hear about. Today, she's remembered for her extraordinary beauty. Her floor-length chestnut hair, her famously tiny waist, and the glamorous portraits that turned her into a legend across Europe. But behind that carefully crafted image was a deeply restless woman. Sisi struggled with depression, severe anxiety, and what historians now believe may have been eating disorders. And to cope with the pressures of royal life, she developed habits that shocked high society. For example, she smoked constantly. At a time when women were expected to appear delicate and refined, smoking was considered deeply inappropriate, especially for an empress. But Sisi didn't seem to care. According to contemporary accounts, she smoked somewhere between 30 and 40 Turkish and Russian cigarettes a day. And after dinner, it was apparently customary for her to enjoy Turkish coffee alongside an Italian cigar. To Sisi, smoking helped calm her nerves. If she felt emotionally overwhelmed or melancholic, servants would reportedly bring her cigarettes immediately to soothe her mood. Needless to say, aristocratic society was scandalized. But smoking was not the only unconventional thing she turned to. Sisi also used drugs medicinally, something that sounds shocking today, but during the 19th century, opiates were widely prescribed among the upper classes as pain relief and mood treatments. In fact, her personal traveling medical kit still survives today, and inside, it is a syringe believed to have belonged to the empress herself, now displayed at the Hofburg Palace in Vienna. As far as historians know, Sisi was not considered addicted. At the time, these substances were viewed very differently than they are today, and many aristocrats used them regularly for physical pain, exhaustion, and emotional distress. But perhaps the most unexpected detail of all came later in her life. Sisi became obsessed with travel and the sea. She frequently escaped court life to visit the Greek island of Corfu, where she owned a beautiful villa overlooking the water. The ocean seemed to offer her something royal life never could: freedom. And then, at the age of 51, she did something almost unheard of for a royal woman of her era. She got a tattoo. According to reports, Sisi had an anchor tattooed onto her shoulder at a harbour tavern by a sailor or local tattoo artist. An empress with a tattoo! In the 1800s, tattoos were associated with sailors, criminals, and outsiders. Not European royalty, but by this point in her life, Sisi seemed increasingly uninterested in obeying society's expectations. And perhaps that's what makes her so fascinating even today, because beneath the diamonds and royal portraits was a woman desperately trying to escape the cage of being an empress. The more historians uncover about Elisabeth of Austria, the less she resembles the fairy tale princess people imagined. Instead, she begins to feel surprisingly modern, restless, rebellious, emotionally exhausted, and searching for freedom in a world determined to control her. And maybe that's why people are still fascinated by Sisi more than a century later. This was history, but strange. If you enjoy the strange, beautiful, and unsettling side of history, make sure to subscribe. And next, watch the story of Elisabeth I and the strange obsession she had with her own hands.